All right. So a couple weeks ago, I came across this post on Facebook, and it really got my attention, and it has kind of shaped some of my thinking for the past couple weeks. And can everybody see that? So it's a quote by Robert Holden, and this is what it says. It says, "Beware of destination addiction, a preoccupation with the idea that happiness is in the next place, the next job, with the next partner, until you give up the idea that happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are." And you see these quotes on Facebook and stuff, and um, then it just something comes up with you, and it might stick with you for a little bit. But this idea of destination addiction, it just really stuck with me. And I found myself going back to it and thinking about it for the course of about 2 weeks. And I would start having conversations with different people about this idea of destination addiction. And it really has this idea that we can get caught up in the notion, in the idea that we are going to find happiness, that we're going to find fulfillment, that we're going to find enlightenment, that we are going to find spiritual fulfillment when we reach some milestone in our lives. When we complete school, well, then everything in our life is going to be perfect. When we get a new tool, so that we can do our job better. When we get a new toy, when we finish a project around our house, well, then everything will be perfect. And at that time, everything is going to be great, and everything is going to fall into place, and our life is going to be exactly the way that we want it to be, or that we expect it to be. And it's just, and the deceiving thing about that is that every time we expect that, every time that we think that that's going to happen, we achieve something, or we reach that place in our lives, and then all of a sudden, there's something else to achieve. There's something else to do. And then we say to ourselves, well, that was nice. We got this project done around the house, but you know what's really going to make me be at peace? Whenever I get this next thing done, then I will be able to rest. Then I will be able to enjoy. Then I will be able to find peace. Then I will be able to find fulfillment. And then I got thinking about it in the light of ministry. I got thinking about reflecting back on my years of ministry. And the sad thing is, like, I lived my life through ministry that way. I would say, well, you know what? Whenever we reach this goal, well, then everything will be great and everything will be fine. Well, you know what? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but there was always something else to do. And what that robs us of is the ability to be in the present, to be in the here, to be in the now, and to experience other people in the here and the now, because we're constantly looking forward to what's going to be. It robs us of the ability to experience ourselves in the here and the now, and to be satisfied with what God's doing in our lives right now, because we're kind of in a very real way, we're saying, yeah, well, it's good, but it's not good enough, and I want something, and I want something more. And then on a spiritual level, it really keeps us from experiencing, I think, the best that Jesus has for us, and the best that Jesus offers us. And I started thinking about you know, is this the way that Jesus invited us to live life? And then as you think about, just for one example, the Lord's Prayer. When Jesus taught us to pray, he taught us to pray saying, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. you know and so he's talking about the here and the now, right? And one of the biggest places where people of faith, like where we practice this destination anxiety, is where we sit there and we say everything is going to be great when we get to where? When we get to heaven. When we get to heaven, everything's going to be great. I'm going to be physically healed. I'm going to be spiritually whole. Everything's going to be great then. And we focus on that. And please don't hear me saying that that's a bad thing, because I don't believe that that's a bad thing. But yet, if that's what our entire focus is, if that's where we're sitting there and our idea is, man, I cannot wait until we get to heaven. I cannot wait until we get to heaven. And that's our destination focus. And that's where we're all looking. We're going to miss the beauty and the joy and the vibrant piece of life that we can have in the here and the now. And I think Jesus was all about saying, look around you, see the here and the now. There is so much that I want you to encounter and experience in each other and in the world around you. And, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. I want you to unleash a little bit of heaven, here on this earth. And he's really telling us, as in our prayers, that we're not supposed to be focusing on the destination. We're supposed to be focusing on the journey to get there, on the here and on the now, on the way that we live in relationship with each other. And I just, the more that I've been thinking about it, and the more that I've been wrestling with it, I find a couple things to be true. One, I find that I am a victim of this idea of destination anxiety. Like I am constantly saying, when I finish this book and this book project is done, well, then I can relax and then I will be at peace. And when I get this set up and this is moving in the right way, well, then I can rest and then I'll relax and then I'll be at peace. And what I know about myself is that, there's always going to be something else. There's always going to be another project. There's always going to be something else to be doing and to be a part of. And Jesus' invitation for you and for me is to be able to say, look, Jesus is saying, look, I'm with you in the here and in the now, and stop looking to the future. Look to what's going on around you right now, and be satisfied, be content, but not complacent with where I have placed you, with the people that I have put into your life, and with the blessings that I have poured into your life, and let that be enough for you. Content but not complacent. And I know that to be true. And I know that our world is constantly struggling around us to teach us anything but this idea of, destination, the opposite of destination anxiety. Our world is constantly teaching us that it's in the next thing, where we're going to find peace and wholeness and completeness. And that is just so opposite of what Jesus' invitation is, um, for us. So, you know, a lot of things you see on Facebook, um, you know, I don't know how much value they add into our lives. Um, I think a lot of times they feed that destination anxiety, right? We look at people's pictures of their beautiful vacations. We look at pictures of fabulous homes, because nobody puts on Facebook the difficult struggles of their lives. Um, they only put their best things out there. Um, and so when you're constantly surrounded with all of those best things, it's very easy to fall into that trap of destination anxiety. That quote stood out in contrast to all of that, and it just made me it had me wrestling for the past couple of weeks, and I thought I would share some of those wrestlings with you this evening.